Sure, the pubs and clubs. Can you imagine the atmosphere at Twickenham now? If you're at Twickenham, you're not at Twickenham if you're on this live stream. There's no chance. Can you imagine, though? The atmosphere at Twickenham must be absolutely buzzing. Just through the game, like you could hear like an incredible like murmur from the crowd. There was just so much to talk about. Like there was singing at times as well. The singing was amazing. You heard the French a lot in the second half. The Marseillaise was ringing out around Twickenham when they were playing well and winning. But then Swing Low came back into it as well. But mostly it was murmuring because there was just so much to talk about. So much. What just happened there? How did that happen? Who knows? So much going on. Let's have your comments in and we'll talk about some of that. We've got one here from GBNE 1010. Look, England looked much better with Finn Smith at 10. I agree. England's attacking structure, in structured attack, I thought we looked far and away better than last week and better than, I would say, I think most of the autumn as well. Finn Smith's just got a beautiful appreciation of the space that's in front of him and just allows people to run into the holes outside. I mean, we're going to talk about the final try in a minute, but that was a great example of it. But he did it a number of times in the second half. Yeah, also, what a cracking game. England did very well indeed. They did, but I mean, it was error strewn and sort of all kinds of stuff going on. But in a game like that, you've just got to keep thinking about the next moment, the next thing, because if you're busy thinking about all the craziness that's just happened in the previous whatever, like you can't even focus. So that was where I was most impressed with England, I think. They just kept moving on to the next thing and attacked it with vigor and sort of passion and, yeah, kind of just managed to ignore all the stuff that didn't go well, which there was plenty of. And France were ridiculously dangerous as well, obviously. So that was wild. Okay, let's get into this one. Firstly, a word for Tom Voice, remembered at the start of this game. Rest in peace, Tom. That's a serious moment, but then I had a little giggle with the co-commentators being Ben Kay and Benjamin K. Zur. Classic combination of names there. And it started, the way the team started, having just watched Italy versus Wales, it seemed to me that maybe the conditions weren't as bad because both teams seemed to want to run with the ball, pass a lot more, certainly a lot more than either Italy or Wales did. But then as the half wore on, you kind of went, oh no, the conditions are quite bad because there were errors all over the place. It looked like a comedy sketch show at times. Mocker Smith ran the ball back the first time he got kicked to and ended up knocking on. England had a line out. I'm going to go through all my points really quickly here because I've made a ton of notes. So much happened. There was a big moment after about 4 minutes when Francois Cross absolutely nailed George Martin after he ran off the back of a line out. That looked like a big moment. Cross is an assassin, and he nailed Martin, who's obviously one of England's, you know, heavier, bigger enforcer types. So that felt big. I was a bit nervous early on. Tommy Freeman fighting in on the French attack, leaving Bielbery on the wide outside, and it felt like he probably should have scored, but Bielbery knocked on the first knock on in a try scoring position of about half a dozen in the first half for France. So England can definitely be very grateful for that. 2 years ago, France were lethal. They scored with every single attacking possession they had almost. They barely made a mistake. And if they'd done that today, they would have certainly won because they had England at 6s and 7s at plenty of times in the first half there. Got another comment in here from Sean Quigley. Really enjoyed this game. Game of rugby, I'm assuming that means. Well done, England. Yes, well done, England. It felt, and also, I think, I'm not sure if I said this on the pod or not, but it felt like England needed a game where some of the fortune went their way. And there was definitely lots of that as well today. Like they played some really good rugby at times, particularly sort of for the last half an hour, I'd say. There was times when they played some cracking stuff. But they got a lot of fortune as well. They got some breaks today, and I think they really needed that. They desperately needed that. 6 minutes gone. England win a scrum penalty. And I thought England probably just had the nudge in the scrum most of the day, but Henry Slade went for a really long touch and missed it. And at this point in the game, it was nobody had ascendancy. Like it was just messy. Like there was a kicking going on, and nobody really could get any kind of a foothold in the game. It was very loose and very open. And I was very nervous about that because the French are incredible in those situations. Well, normally they are, not quite so much today. Ellis Genge got pinged for an offside, which just looked like a really marginal. I think he probably was, but it was really lazy as well. Just like, and there was one in the second half when England got a midfield penalty offside, and it was just you know, in games like this, you can't afford those narrow little easy pens. However, Thomas Ramos stepped up right in front of the post and missed it. When's that ever happened? Like, never. I mean, and obviously, you look forward to the end of the game when it's a 1-point game. Missing that conversion, that penalty after 12 minutes, just added to the sort of feeling that this was a crazy, crazy game. England were actually defending pretty well, though. France were dangerous, but England was started to defend with good shape, good connectivity, player to player. And if they're outnumbered, softening to the touchline. So England were doing okay. But then Penaud just knocks one on the right flank. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him drop a ball before. And he just dropped that one stone cold dead. Ollie Slytone took his moment to give him a little shove in the back and, you know, let him know about it. I think play on with that. You know, it was a little moment of just, come on, we're here to compete. You know, crack on. I think that's what the referee's opinion was as well. It was, you know, it was just letting him know he was there. But yeah, Penaud knocking the ball on there, very, very strange. There was a lovely moment as well from a French line-out, a lovely bit of skill from Malvaca. He was shaping up to throw as in a typical throw. And then as the things changed in front of him, he kind of brought the ball down as if to go, oh, we're pausing, and then threw it in as a rugby pass, which was a lovely little bit of deception from Malvaca there at the front of the line-out. My feed actually dropped off at this next point, and I think England were attacking when I dropped off. And as it came back on, Dupont was just dropping an absolute stone-cold try-scoring pass. So I think that's at least 3 tries, 20 minutes in, that France have coughed up now, which, again, 2 years ago, they nailed all of those. So it was very... England were... It didn't feel like they were clinging on, but they could have conceded 3 tries for sure. Some more comments coming in. My word, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name. Reardishun, maybe. Congrats to England from Ireland. Such a difference when they play and not kick chase. Well done. I mean, I agree. I think England did kick and play the conditions a fair bit in the first half. But when it came down to it in the last 20 minutes and they needed points, they really did play some great attacking rugby. So that was good to see. What do we got here? Yeah, this one, I think I've just been saying that. Never seen French handling so bad. Yeah, pretty much agreed. I mean, it's they dropped a lot of passes and a lot of passes in good positions. There's no question about that. Okay, into the second 20 minutes of the first half. Rumat wins an England line out. He is very quick up into the air, that guy, and very good on defensive lineouts in particular. And this was another drop by Penaud. And he was running this kind of 45-degree angle that you see him score tries on all the time. There were England players in and around him, but I've seen him score tries from that position so many times that I think he would have probably got over. He's that big and that quick. But he dropped it cold. Again, that's probably 4 tries that France have coughed up. And at this point, England weren't in their flow. They had nice little moments at times, but they definitely weren't in their flow. They tried to run an attacking play from a scrum just inside their own half, I think it was. And it looked very, very clunky. All the timing was off. People are arriving a bit before they should have done. And Marcus Smith tried to kick because there was nothing else on. And that kind of got charged down with a foot, I think, blocked with a foot. England ended up right back on their line again. So that was worrying signs for me as well. France were looking lethal, but not finishing. And England were looking a little bit clunky. And it came to roost in the end. And imagine now as well, all this happened and it's still 0-0. Absolutely crazy. But France find a hole. Dupont was running across the pitch looking for space. And it looked like England were like, right, we've got him here. We've got him. However, he had Peno back on his inside. And that was the smart bit. That was the really clever bit of play, because it seemed obvious to pass it to BLBRE, who was outside, but he had the nous to look back inside, and Peno caught and kicked in almost one movement to put BLBRE in the corner. And then a touchline conversion as well for 7-0. Shortly after that, Marcus Smith made a nice break. He was looking lively. And, you know, there's lots to like about Marcus, but I think the thing I like most is his competitive spirit. You can see in every action how much it means to him and how much he competes for everything. And he definitely did that on this break. It was one of those lovely things where he stepped towards one player, stepped back towards another one, dummied both, and then went straight through the hole. He does that kind of thing quite a lot. What happened here? I've just written crazy play, because it was, I think this was England going flank to flank. Finn Smith put a kick through and it ended up, oh yes, right. The French Lucid, Gross, ended up carrying over. How was he in the bottom corner when England was sort of kicking through and trying to get a try there? If he wasn't there, England would have scored. So fair play, absolutely crazy. But that led to an England scrum a couple of meters out or 5 meters out, and England drove. And then Gens tried to pick and pass to Tom Curry, but Tom Curry was too flat, so it went on the floor. Curry slapped it up to Finn Smith, who then got sort of between two players and dropped it, but also backwards. Ended up going to Ollie Lawrence, who it was comical. I really think this is quite comical. You know, if you with your mates, maybe in the park, you know, showing off for a girl or something like that, and you do, right, we'll demonstrate what a handoff is. And you go, right, I'll hand you off. And then you dive and make it really spectacular. That's basically what Thomas Ramos did for Ollie Lawrence. He did a forward roll after it, I think, as Lawrence sauntered under the posts. They checked about 4 things, because it looked like there was possibly several forward moments in there, but none of them were. So it was 7-all, and it looked like Ramos couldn't care less at that point. And yeah, it was pretty comical. And then this happened last week as well. England got another good line-out position late in that first half, and Tom Curry knocked on. Again, it was England's line-out was sloppy again at times. They won enough, but the quality of possession was rarely good. This was a really good quality possession, and Tom Curry knocked it on. Very disappointing end to the first half, and 7-7. Holy moly, it's only half time. Right, let's look at some more comments. Klaus says England was saved by the rain. Meh. I don't know. Saved by French bad handling, whether that was rain induced or not. It's the same conditions for both teams. Lawless here. Marcus worked as a back. Borthwick deserves the plaudits. I think it did work with Marcus at fullback. Yes, overall, he added. Yeah, exactly as we expected. He didn't get exploited in the air or defensively, I don't think. None that I can remember. And he definitely provided incredible attacking threat as well. So, and his kicking game was pretty good today as well, from hand, off the tee, not quite so much. Okay, into the second half. And there was this, and the craziness, frankly, just continued, because there was this ridiculous end-to-end scenario where it looked like England were going to concede. Then they got the turnover. Tom Curry went wheeling off around. They ended up kicking it, which was probably the right decision. France kicked back and Marcus Smith ran back, but BLBRE ripped it off of him in the tackle. Looked like he was going to score, but got cut off, passed inside to Mavaka, who knocked it on. Then England almost went the length as well. I mean, it was crazy. It was just a continuation of what was going on in the first half. And at this point, you know, when you're watching a game, you get into a kind of a rhythm of it. You go, right, okay, this is happening. This team's trying to do this, but they're not working or whatever. There was no rhythm to this game whatsoever. It was all over the place. It was kind of disorientating, really, to watch. Thrilling, exciting. But as I said at the start, to analyze it, how are you going to do that? Like, as a coaching team, it's very difficult to make head nor tail of a lot of what happened today. And this was when I really noticed the crowd murmuring, lots of conversations going on in the crowd. Very difficult to know, just figure out what was going on. 49 minutes. This was the second dull offside penalty from England, right in front of the post, which led to the penalty in 7-10. And again, 50 minutes, give or take, only 7-10. It felt like there was so much going on. It should be like 25 all or something, but 7-10. Itoje wins a jackal penalty from the basically straight from the kickoff, I think. Went to the line out in the corner. But again, I mentioned the line outs a minute ago. The quality of possession, even some of the ones they won, wasn't good enough. I think that Itoje got up and it kind of got batted back. Yeah, couldn't launch a play off there, basically, and we ended up not getting anything off of it. Interestingly, Ellis Genja was taken off on 52 minutes. And I'm not sure. I don't know why. Here's my take on it. Because Genja's playing pretty well. He's scrummaging well. He was around and about in the loose, as he always is. I think England wanted Finn Baxter to go after Georges-Henri Colombe. And I think they wanted to get him on and get him warmed up before France made their change. That's my theory. I don't know whether that's true, but that's my theory anyway. Ben Curry also came on from Tom Willis at that point as well. Willis made some good carries. He had a very solid outing, I think. There was another, the knock-ons continued for France. Jalibert doing a crazy one. I mean, England were making mistakes as well. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't all French mistakes, but it just seemed like the French ones were just on the brink of when they were going to score a try. However, Finn Baxter did have to go up against Antonio, and a scrum penalty against Baxter when Antonio was really pouring in and down and putting pressure on him. Baxter seemed to take it and go, yep, fair enough. But yeah, it probably was fair enough, to be honest. But that made it 7-13. And this was when the Marseillaise was ringing out around Twickenham. The French were getting very excited. And it's fantastic when you hear that song sung in a rugby stadium. It's such a fantastic noise. But England did something now, which they've been the victims of, or the reverse of, many, many times in recent years. And Tommy Freeman went up and won the kickoff. France have got into a 6-point lead and they lose the ball there. So that was massive for England to get back into the game and get position straight away. And within a minute, Finn Smith chopped that the other way, kicked up to Freeman's wing, and he got up above Bealberry to score the try and get England right back into this game. We picked this out as a key thing in the pre-game, that Freeman against Bealberry is definitely in England's favour. I didn't see England get to kick to Freeman on that wing all that often, really. But this one worked. This one was key. However, Marcus missed the conversion, which was a relatively straightforward one. It was about on the 15, maybe just a bit inside. I can't quite remember. Which leaves England behind with 20 minutes to go. Okay, let's look at a few more comments that we got going in here. David Cronin, French threw that away, but fair play to England. Great game. Ireland for the Grand Slam. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that France certainly didn't throw away a whole load of opportunities in that game. They dropped a lot of passes, as I've said. But England played some good stuff too and defended well at times. It was a wild and crazy game. Here we go. Steve Hughes. Wonder if it is the Hughes. Definitely went to the wrong game. Italy versus Wales, two poor sides. England versus France, two teams at a different level. Yeah, I mean, the games looked so different today. Very, very different. Bit of an opinion here on Finn versus Marcus. Finn Smith needs to start ahead of Marcus every game now, has more control and better decision-making. It's interesting. I mean, at the start of the championship, I was in favour of Finn Smith being given the reins. Marcus is a fantastic player, but I would have been picking Finn for that Ireland game last week. Lovely comment here from John Keegan. What a great game. Turnovers, knock-ons, physicality. Delighted that England finally got over the line in a tight game. But well done, both teams, for the entertainment. Yeah, completely agree. I don't think I've ever seen a game quite like that. It was really, really wild. Okay, into the last 20 minutes. And I mean, it wasn't like France needed to score because they were still in the lead, but they just went up the other end and just got into their flow. Forwards carrying hard. It would look like exactly what they did to Wales last week. England couldn't stem the flow. France kept momentum. And the key pass was from that man Dupont, as he saw that England had just got a little bit narrow. I think it was Alex Mitchell, who was second last defender, shoulders turned in, a little bit narrow, got it to Bielberry on the angle, got that ball out to Penaud, who made it easily into the corner, past Slytone. I feel like England will look at that and maybe they could have done something slightly different, but you've just got to applaud the quality of the passing and the quality of the running lines and the appreciation of where the space was there by the French. If England had done something different defensively, France may well have then done something attacking-wise and still scored. So it was a quality try, but conversion missed, which means it's 12 out of 18. That one just skimmed the post, if I remember rightly. And it was now when England really got into some quality attacking flow. Jamie George was on the pitch, and I'd mentioned in the video when we were talking about Itoje becoming captain that George, like I mentioned, we just don't see him in the loose like we used to. But we did today. We saw him running at holes and getting into space. He went straight through a hole. I think he passed it on to Curry. And it was amazing position. But Marcus Smith got really flat and the pass was up above his head and it ended up knocking it on. And it felt like that was a big moment, a big missed moment. But it didn't knock England's confidence. They came back, played another load of good phases. Finn Smith was doing a brilliant job of getting towards the line, holding defenders and then putting people through holes. Forced an offside penalty, 13 minutes to go. The penalty's on the 15-metre line. And I thought this was a massive moment. My immediate reaction was to say, kick it. 6 points behind, kick it, get back down there again and see what you can do. And then as they were lining it up, I was just like, I'm not sure this is the right choice. They got France under a lot of pressure, scrambling for the first time in the game. And then I thought maybe it wasn't the right choice. Marcus missed it. As with the conversion, he missed it by quite a big chunk as well. It wasn't even close. It was like his head had gone a little bit. And we'll come on to that shortly because something else happened later, which made me think he definitely lost his head in terms of the goal kicking. Now, we talk about Finn Baxter and him versus Georges-Henri Colombe, and that's a thing that England maybe were looking for. He then won a scrum penalty for England. Great kick to the corner, and Baxter followed it up with the try himself. England did a little back peel, followed by some pick and goes. Alex Mitchell almost got over, but landed on his back. And Baxter managed to get through Marchand, which is no mean feat. That guy is tough at the line. So amazing. Finn Smith steps up to kick the conversion on 71 minutes to put England in the lead. And yeah, great that amazing for a young man like that to step up at that moment and kick that goal. Fantastic stuff. There's a bit of kick tennis, and Marcus Smith showed great maturity by taking a mark, slowing everything down. That took like 45 seconds out of the game. Everything can calm down again, get everybody back behind the ball. Great bit of tactical appreciation there, I thought. 75 minutes. And it was, I had Stephen Corlett Taff on the podcast last week talking about how terrified people are of Dupont because of what he can do. And there's this point, he's just dabbling around about his own 10-metre line, sort of going backwards, looking around. There were 4 England players opposite him, 4. And Dupont just looked at them, saw he had Penaud on the right wing, threw it over the top, and France were away. I think we kicked it on. Ollie Slightholme knocked it on, but France were then in, playing, passing, and it ended up, I mean, I don't know, one of 7 or 8 players could have scored, but Bielberry got it in the end. 19:25, 5 minutes to go, and it's a long way back. England manufacture a chance down the left-hand side, and Ollie Lawrence kicked. It just looked like, I know we get some joy from those kicks, and actually as a percentage, we probably England get more joy from them now than they did 3 or 4 years ago when it seemed like did it in every single possession. But it just looked like the wrong choice. And the execution was bad as well, which compounded that. It went straight out. And yeah, I'd kind of given up at this point because I think France knocked on, so England had a knock-on advantage, and Alex Mitchell box kicked. It seemed like a nothing kick, really. It felt like England should really try and play from there. But we won a jackal penalty at that turnover, and and that just gave us an entry. It felt like it came from nowhere. To be honest, it felt like France really should have dealt with that situation. I'm not sure how we got that, but we did. Kick to the corner, a few phases, some driving, and then it was just, again, some beautiful shape from England in attack. Got Elliot Daly on the pitch, running as a sort of second runner outside Finn Smith, who's straight into the line, put him through, and Daly's lost a bit of pace, but he had enough to get there. And it was just a magical moment. Seeing Daly skating for the winning try, very reminiscent of a day in Cardiff quite a long while ago. Interestingly, the clock, the shot clock started at 79 minutes 02, I think. So if Finn Smith had, I mean, it would have taken an incredible bottle to wait to the last second to kick that conversion, but then there wouldn't have been a restart, and that was within his remit. But I think he did the right thing by just making sure he got the conversion over. And I say I'll make sure he got the conversion over. I'm not sure. Did it get a touch? Did Bielbiari get a touch on it when he was trying to charge it down? It looked like to me maybe he did, but it went over. One of England's things that have been a problem recently, catching kickoffs, wasn't a problem this time. Actually, maybe it was a little bit, but it was a scramble that England won for the ball, got it, kicked the ball off. Twickenham goes crazy, and I'm just delighted for the players, and I'm delighted for Steve Borthwick as well. Like, to lose that many tight games in a row is almost a statistical anomaly, really. I mean, as I said, halfway through this, to say they deserved to win, well, I think they did. But France will definitely think that they've let one go there as well, with all those chances that they dropped, all the drop passes, all that kind of stuff. But it was just a wild and crazy game, which England somehow snuck at the end. What was the score? 26-25. Absolutely crazy. Thank you for all the well wishes. There's lots of nice people here from Ireland saying well done. Kevin there, Bernie. Another one here from Dublin, Christian. Thank you very much, guys. I am personally delighted. Feeling a little bit in shock, to be honest, because I've never really seen a game like that before, but it was a whole lot of fun. So that was great. I'm going to be speaking with Phil Greenaway, who we did the preview for this game with in a short while, and we'll have that video up for you later. And I said we're going to try and analyse it, but it's very difficult to analyse a game like that. So wild. We'll have the Italy-Wales game reviewed for you tomorrow. And then, I mean, it is the biggest game of the weekend. There's no question. Scotland versus Ireland tomorrow. I mean, it's an absolutely amazing game. I hope that both teams attack that the way France and England did their game. I hope the conditions are good enough that they can really go out and try and play. Because if they both do, and I think they will, that's the way they're inclined to play, both those teams, then we should see another absolute belter tomorrow. God, I love the Six Nations. Okay, people, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to sign this one off now. Have a good evening. Enjoy yourselves. And I will see you tomorrow for another live after Scotland versus Ireland. Peace.